Hi, my name is Mark Chansky. I'm the coordinator of the Reformed Baptist Network, and I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan at Grace Emmanuel Reformed Baptist Church, where there's a pastor's fraternal, and Chris Powell, who is the pastor of Covenant Baptist Church in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And Chris and I have been talking about the church there and how things have been going. Chris, you talked a little bit about the possibility of maybe a church plant in the future. What does that look like for you there in those parts?
Right. Well, we're a small church in the city, and I think sometimes it can be overwhelming to think about just anything beyond sort of survival. And our desire is really to be useful in God's kingdom and to attempt things for the Lord. And in 2013, we discussed after we had gotten to a point where we were self-supporting, self-governing, we wanted to self-propagate. We wanted to plant another church. And we were looking in our city at the time, and in the Lord's providence, He brought a gifted man to our congregation, John Rudesgard, who became my fellow elder. And we were looking at potentially planting a church in the city, but a unique opportunity opened up for us to plant our first church in Barbados.
And I just got back from Barbados recently.
That's right.
And the Lord has really shined on that church.
Yeah, the Lord has been very kind. And so right now we're in a situation where we're actually sharing leadership between the churches. So I'm a pastor there and he's a pastor in Toronto, although really we take the lead in those locations. But we want to sort of look beyond that as Barbados starts to mature, and our hope is that they will be self-sustaining in the near future or in the future. We want to think about what's next. And so last year at our annual meeting, we presented to our church in Toronto a vision to purposely split our church and to plant another church in the city again. So we have started to move in that direction. Mostly at this point, prayer and putting things into place. But what we are trying to do is to grow our budget and set aside money to hire on another pastor, and hopefully in Lord's providence and timing to hire on a third that we could send out as a church planter and plant another church. We've set sort of an arbitrary timeline of a decade to do that, but when we presented at the church in 2013, we actually ended up executing in 2017. We were talking about a 10-year timeline there. So whether it's 10 years, 15 years, or if in the Lord's providence it doesn't work, we just have to trust that we are seeking to think about how we could be most useful in the situation. And the Lord is happy to just have us serve as we are. We're happy to do that. But our real goal is to see as many people as possible come to faith in Jesus Christ in the city of Toronto. And we would love to see, we think that part of that is having more churches and having better access.
Yes.
Our congregation right now comes, we rent a facility in the middle of the city, but most of our church can't afford to live in that area. And so what we're thinking of is splitting the church and then planting on the east and the west side of the city.
Expand into two congregations. Well, Chris, this kind of vision for church planting makes my heart sing. And may the Lord establish the work of your hands. Every blessing, brother. Godspeed.